face discouragement and in dealing with it sometimes requires a lot of tenderness and other times toughness. But either way, discouragement is not to be tolerated or wallowed in. It's to be punched right in the face, I'd say. If we mull in discouragement, it can be costly. Its sense of defeat and hopelessness saps us of energy and vision. It can take up a lot of our time. It can keep us from doing what we should be doing instead of what we don't want to face. And it can even be contagious, weakening others' faith and trust in themselves or in us. When we feel discouraged, we want comfort, which is our ride during those circumstances. But the comforts we often turn to are ways to avoid our fears, rather than ways to muster our courage to face and defeat them once and for all. When this happens, discouragement simply becomes habitual, a sinful indulgence, if you will, in unbelief, no different than indulging in lust or anger or any other sin that lead you to unbelief. Jesus does not want us to be discouraged. In fact, he commanded us not to be. Listen to what Jesus says to his disciple just before what probably was the most discouraging experience of their lives, his brutal death. In John 14:1, let not our hearts be troubled. Note Jesus' words, let not. These are not merely comforting, they are commands. He knew they would be tempted to fear. Things were going to look very bad, like the whole mission was crumbling down before their very eyes. What were they to do instead of being afraid? Believe. Believe in God, believe also in me. In other words, don't let your hearts be ruled by what you see. Let them be ruled by what I promise you, and that is what he's saying to you and I as well. So what's tempting you to be discouraged today? Are you having a hard time believing that God really does work for the good of those who love him? Then it's time to fight, not pout or shrink. Think of discouragement as your faith being squished. When you're struggling to breathe, it's not the time to plop down in front of the TV with a plate of comfort food to medicate your disappointing spirit. You need to dislodge the obstruction so you can breathe. You need to fight for your life. You may need to get someone to give you a Heimlich. Why not? Go get faith-fueled courage, encouragement. Don't let discouragement choke you down or be your defeat. It's dislodged by believing promises that he has made us. So we claim those promises by being reminded that we have been blessed with the Bible. So through the encouragement of the scriptures, we might have hope. It says amazing things like in Romans 8:35-37, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? No. In all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Don't let your heart be ruled by what you see. Let it be ruled by what Jesus' promises are to you. And finally, in John 16:33, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. Well, that's all we have today for you on Take 5. Join us again next week for yet another episode. And do not forget to hit that bell icon for future notification, and also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next week, bye!